Happy Diwali, good morning, welcome all of you. So, on this glorious occasion, on this most auspicious occasion, we are going to discuss a great topic, that is on the secrets of the overmind and the rapture of the oversoul. So, this is the topic of discussion for us in the process of this, in the session of this Savitri summarization. We are going to discuss on book 2 canto 15. We are at the end point of this book 2 canto 15, the kingdoms of the greater knowledge. So we are going to discuss on book 2 canto 15, the kingdoms of the greater knowledge. It is the concluding portion of the Sri Aurobindo's old world stare that we started with book 2 canto 1, the world stare. We are going to have a termination on this. This is the concluding of one. Here that mostly we are going to discuss on secrets of the overmind and the rapture of the oversoul. That's what we are going to discuss in very brief manner. Already we want to see it in the from the end here in the course. He scanned the secrets of the overmind. He scanned the secrets of the overmind. He bore the rapture of the oversoul. Here he is Asapati, in other words, Sri Aurobindo. A borderer of the empire of the sun, on that a borderer, attuned to the supernal harmonies. Actually, what is his real position after getting the rapture of the oversoul and the secret, scanning the secrets of the overmind? He linked creation to the eternal sphere. His finite parts approached their absolutes. His actions framed the movements of the gods. His will took up the reins of the cosmic force. And for since that day, Sri Aurobindo is confined to his a single room for the intense sadhana after gaining the touch of the experience of the crown of the overmind. So little bit we will come forward and discuss, quote the quotings from Sri Aurobindo will take, but before that we will try to go in brief few lines, so called our summarization or our gist. This is a big one. Book 2 canto 15, the kingdoms of the greater knowledge. That's what we are going to have an experience from the soul state, that already you have known. From the soul state, Asapati returns again to the surface. He was staying in that soul state. That's what we are already aware of. We have read recently. Then actually in the self of my, and from that point of time already, the world soul we read recently, and from that soul state he is returning to again to the surface. He stands in a realm of silence. He stands in a realm of silence, alone and still, standing in a realm of silence. He has gone beyond the reign of nature, beyond the reign of nature, beyond the sphere of mind. Totally he is above, beyond the reign of nature, beyond the sphere of mind. It is a plane of the undetermined spirit, beyond thought. Undetermined spirit beyond thought. Here is a voice that the human ear can't hear. Very limited human ear. Above this one, only human limits thoughts is confined and narrowed. He is crossing. A knowledge, a voice that human ear can't hear. A knowledge that is gained by identity. Already we know and discussed knowledge by identity. A love that unites. That is what the character and specialization of that realm. Here is a voice, already we have known. That voice is not unheard by human mind. Knowledge can be gained only by identity. There is a love that unites, that unifies. Here is the original mass plenitude of power. Mass plenitude of power prior to before the creation. This is the place of the spiritual birth in time. Great thing. This is the place of the spiritual birth in time. We'll try to quote few lines from Sri Aurobindo's original writings. We'll try to quote it here. Very interesting lines. After a measureless moment of the soul, again returning to the surface fields, to the surface he is coming from the soul state, out of the timeless depths where he had sunk. Again, what he is listening, he heard once more the slow tread of the hours. He is in the top gear. He is moving forward in a supersonic, in the supramental speed. But he heard once more the slow tread of the hours. Once, all once perceived and lived was far away. Himself was to himself was his only sin. Above the witness and his universe, he stood in a realm of boundless silences. A realm of we have known boundless silences. That realm of boundless silence he can achieve. Awaiting the voice that spoke and built the words. How the spoke the word, the voice that spoke and built the words he is awaiting. A light was around him, wide and absolute. A light was around him, wide and absolute. A diamond purity of eternal light, sight, a consciousness less still, devoid of form, free, wordless, unquestioned by sign or rule. That is a great realm, great description from the Mahayogi. A sheer existence lived in its own peace, on the single spirit's bare and infinity ground. So again, out of the sphere of the mind he had arisen. He had left the reign of nature's hues and shades. He dwelt in his self of colorless purity. That is what the change, and of course about the great adventure of the master. It was a plane of undetermined spirit, colorless purity. We can just imagine how it will be. There could be a zero or a round sum of things, a state in which all ceased and all began. A state in which all ceased and all began, all it became that figures the absolute. Then a high, vast peak where spirit could see the worlds, calm's wide epiphany, wisdom's built home. A lonely station of the omniscience, a diving board of the eternal power, a white floor in the house of all delight. Here came the thought that passes beyond thought. Here came the thought, that is a small t, that passes beyond thought, that is capital T. Here is the still voice which our listening can't hear. The knowledge by which the knower is the known. Just now you are seeing little bit. The love in which the beloved and the lover are one, all stood in an original plenitude. Again, here was engendered the spiritual birth. Here closed the finite crawl to the infinity. A thousand roads lived into eternity. Or then the known released him from its limiting chain. Known, it has got its chain to bind up, that is limiting, and actually released him. He knocked at the doors of the unknowable, thence gazing with an immeasurable outlook, one with the self-seen look into its pure vast. What he is seeing? He saw the splendor of the spirit's realms, the greatness and wonder of its boundless works, the power and passion leaping from its calm, the rapture of its own movements and its rest, and its fire-sweet miracle of transcendent life, the million pointing undivided grasp of the vision of one same stupendous all. So a little bit we'll try to read it, and of course try to summarize how it is working in the process of summarization. We'll try to summarize in brief about the next point of action point, next scenario, what is happening. Ashwapati sees the splendor of the spirit's kingdom. Splendor of the spirit's kingdom, the glory of the one in all, one as all, that glory. All forms are shapes of the spirit. All forms are outbursts of the spirit's truth. So everything only spirit, everything. Spirit's truth, spirit's shape, everything. He passes on and sees the power, that those powers they preside over the world from the beginning. Knowledge calls him, already we have seen, calls him to their or to her peaks. And all revealing light, first power, then knowledge, then light, leads him to the realms of the transcendence, transcendent truth, where truth and space are seen as their true nature of as self-existence and self durations of the spirit. The beauty and harmony, two things are there, of the creation unveil themselves in the vision. Beauty and harmony. He beholds the play of the inspiration, revelation, and intuition. Three things are there. He sees, he beholds the play of the inspiration, second revelation, third is of course intuition. With them he is actually moving forward. Again we'll find freed from the hold of sleep and death. Already we have in the previous chapter we have analyzed. Freed from the hold of sleep and death, he crosses the sea of the cosmic mind. He, after being freed from the sleep of the death, he crosses the seas of the cosmic mind and nears the rim of eternity. So that is, we can find seas of the cosmic mind. After first he is from freed from the hold of sleep and death, crosses the cosmic mind. Second comes to the rim of eternity, the borders of the ineffable. So this is the thing. Above him were hierarchies of the planes, powers and the gods presiding over the whole creation. Above him, the hierarchies of planes and the powers and the gods presiding over the whole creation. He has reached the top of all that can be known, and the last mystery is left. He has reached the top of the creation, and only the last mystery is left. All the multiplicity follows to the one, and he becomes the portion of that glory. So that is the one crossing the mind, cosmic mind, being freed from the hold of sleep and death. He is coming to the greater arena and finds the things. Everything is of course with related with the spirit and the one who is in the at the multitude, and his vision, his identification, everything actually holds him and freeing him from the confines of the mortal brains. Again we will find the beautiful description on this occasion. Still in the course, the knowledge called him to her mystic peaks. Again, he moved through the regions of the transcendent truth, moves through the regions of the transcendent truth. Again, here in the course, the lines of the multiple measures of the unbuilding force, the lines of the world geometers technique, the enchantments that uphold the cosmic wave, and the magic underlying simple peaks. Again, he heard the ever unspoken reality's voice, ever unspoken, not at all spoken reality's voice he heard. Awakened to revelation's mystic cry, the birthplace found of the sudden infallible word, infallible word that birthplace found, and lived in the rays of an intuitive sun. Lived in the rays of an intuitive sun. Absolved from the ligaments of death and sleep, just now we were discussing, freed from the ligaments of bonds of death and sleep, he rode the lightning seas of the cosmic mind. Again and across the ocean of the original sound on the last step towards the supernal birth. Again we can find he trod along the extinction's narrow edge near the high verges of eternity. Again we can find above him he saw the flaming hierarchy. Just now we were reading and now itself we are summarizing. Above him he saw the flaming hierarchies, the wings that fold around created space, the sun-eyed guardians and the golden springs. How beautiful, gloriously this is described. The sun-eyed guardians and the golden springs and the tired plains and the immutable lords. A wisdom waiting on omniscience sat voiceless in a vast passivity. It judged not, measured not, nor strove to know, but listened for the veiled all-seeing thought and the burden of a calm transcendent voice. Again, he had reached the top of all that can be known. He had reached the top of all that can be known. His sight surpassed creation's head and pace. Again, Yes, his self's infinities began to emerge. The hidden universes cried to him. Eternities called to eternities, sending their speechless message, still remote. Against your in the course, a million energies were joined and were the one. All flowed immeasurably to one sea. All living forms became its atom homes, a energy that harmonized all life, held now existence in its vast control. A portion of that majesty he was made at will, he lived in the unoblivious ray. That is what the greatness, that is what we can see. Again, we'll try to read little bit from that summarization. We'll try to go for another couple of lines, then we'll try to read the original Savitri. No one truth can come there. Each is unique and yet all the one. The impersonal, the personal, two ways. So all are of one, the impersonal and the personal. Movement and the quiescence exist side by side. So this is a great thing we can find here. The impersonal and the personal, the movement and the quiescence exist side by side. A symbol of the self, here in the course again, a symbol of the self, the body is an immortal point of power that surge of cosmic life. Symbol of the self, the body is an immortal point of power in the surge of the cosmic life. Consciousness is one single wave. Space does not divide. Time is one, so everything is actually unified almost in a single version. It is held. Idea embodies the vision. Vision proceeds from identity. So glorious discussion. I will try to quote it again. That is a good thing. A symbol of the self, the body is an immortal point of power in the siege of cosmic life. Consciousness is one single wave. Space does not divide. Time is one. Idea embodies vision. Vision precedes the identity. So great definition has been given by Sri Aurobindo. Again, Ashwapati is a newborn in this kingdom of the spirit's power and light. Newborn, his old everything is forgotten, mesmerized, all forgotten. In the spirit's power and light, in that kingdom of the spirit's power and light, he is newborn. His knowledge, grasp unfathomable, embraces all without segmentation. So everything is unity, unified, in union, nothing is separated. He thinks and feels in all. He is the communion with the incommunicable. He is in communion with the incommunicable. He moves and converses with the greater beings and the gods. The primal energy enters into him. The overwhelming light envelopes him. That is what the creator. The primal energy enters into him. An overwhelming light envelopes his brain. He studies. Already we have seen. That's what will the secrets of the overmind region. So a little bit we'll try to read and then we'll try to conclude in a very briefer manner. Here in the course, their consciousness is a close and a single wave. The far and near we are one in spirit space. The moments there we are pregnant with all time. Far and near we are one in spirit space. The moments that are pregnant with all time, the superconscient screen was ripped by thought. Samatkar. The superconscient screen was ripped by thought. Idea rotated symphonies of sight. Sight was a flamethrower from identity. Life was a marvelous journey of the spirit. Here nothing relates with body, life and matter, mind. Superconscient screen was ripped by thought. Idea rotated symphonies of sight. Sight was a flamethrower from identity. Life was a marvelous journey of the spirit, feeling a wave from the universal bliss. So again, in the kingdom of the spirit's power and the light, he came newborn, infant and limitless. He came newborn, infant and limitless, and grew in the world wisdom of the timeless child. He was a vast that soon became a son. So that is the change. He was a sun, vast that soon became a sun, a great luminous silence was whispered to his heart. His knowledge and in view cut unfathomable, and out view by no brief horizons cut. He thought and felt in all his gaze had power. He communed with the incommunicable, beings of a wider consciousness were his friends, forms of a larger, subtler make drew near. Just imagine how the great change is coming through him. Sri Aurobindo quotes, he thought and felt in all. His gaze had power. Again, he communed with the incommunicable. He communed with incommunicable, not to be, nobody has been able to communicate incommunicable, but he communed with the incommunicable. Beings of a wider consciousness were his friends. Friends not of the earthly kith and kin, it is of the beings of a wider consciousness were his friends. Forms of a larger, subtler make, forms of a larger, subtler make drew near. The gods conversed with him with behind life's veil. Never his being grew to nature's grace. So he is actually he is actually getting enlarged, vaster, changing. So almost touching the absolute, the peak. The primal energy took him in its arms. His brain was wrapped in overwhelming light. Brain was wrapped within overwhelming light, and all embracing knowledge seized his heart. All embracing knowledge seized his heart. Thoughts rose in him no earthly mind can hold. Mind's plate that never coursed through mortal nerves. Still unique, totally unique, totally alone. Everything is marvelous. It is actually being reflected in Sri Aurobindo Ashapati. Mites that played could that never coursed through mortal nerves. Then what happens? That the final change is coming, and we are in the of course in the final portion of our discussion. He studies the secrets of the overmind brain. He is in tune with the supernal harmonies and the links of his consciousness to the creation, the eternal sphere. He wields the cosmic force. That is what the description, and the real description lies in this. Already we have in the beginning we have quoted, and in the end, of course, we are trying to finalize to finish it up. He scanned the secrets of the overmind, scanned the secrets of the overmind. He bore the rapture of the oversoul, because everything totally changed, nothing earthly, everything is supernal, everything belongs to his spirit now belongs to a greater power. Gods conversed with him, beings of wider consciousness are now his friends. A borderer of the empire of the sun, borderer of the empire of the sun, attuned to the supernal harmonies. Then what he is doing, how the things are coming. He linked creation to the eternal sphere. Linked creation to the eternal sphere. His finite parts approached their absolutes. His actions framed the movements of the gods. Finite parts approached their absolute. From infinity he was made finite, but now finite parts approach their absolutes. His actions framed the movements of the gods, nothing earthly. It was a human plane, now itself everything touching the absolute. His will took up the reins of the cosmic gods. So this is the change, this is the great scenario, this is the great world stair, this is the great transformation we can see in the Lord Sri Aurobindo, of course in the form of Ashapati, protagonist. So after crossing this great session, I wish you all a happy Diwali. Bande Mataram.